Okay, I'm going to do a golf learning video here today on the short game, focusing on chipping. So what we're going to do is look at some different examples here of their setup, the techniques they're using in their stroke, and just get an idea of kind of what expert players are doing and the traits and techniques that they use. Okay, now keep in mind how you set up on these chip shots is going to dictate and determine a lot of the shot's result. Okay, so let's concentrate on their setups and see what they're doing. So we'll look at the right here first. Now this player is a state open and state am champion, and when you look at him set up to his chip, you'll notice first thing his feet are extremely close together, right? And his feet are just a little bit open to the target where his left foot's pulled back just a touch. Now when we look at his arm hang, you can see his right arm is a little bit slacked here, and left arm he's allowing a little bit of slack there too. So he's allowing some comfort in his arms. Alright, now you can definitely tell he's anchored a little bit of weight here on the left side, and his body is kind of in this type of an angle, right? And when we draw the line down from his left eye, you can tell that's in front of the golf ball. And when we draw a line down from the center of his chest, that's also running in front of the golf ball. So that tells us that the center of his weight is in front, that he's wanting to get some type of a descending hit on this type of shot. Alright, now you can see that he's choked up on the club slightly, and in this occasion, you see this a lot. Players will play without a glove around the greens. Some players feel like it gives them extra feel or extra touch. When you look at his ball position, it's kind of inside inside his back right foot. And when you look at the club shaft angle, there's a little bit of forward press there with his hands on the inside of his left leg. So you can tell he's choked down on the club. His hands are extremely close to his body, and the shaft angle is running pretty vertical due to how close he is to the ball. Okay, we're going to focus on Seve Ballesteros and his setup here for a moment on the left. Now, we all know this guy was a magician around the greens, so his club might as well have been a magical wand. Alright, now when we look at his hands, relatively low hand position here. Alright, again, choked up on the golf club. Not forward pressed too much, just ever so slightly, and the hands are on the inside of his left leg here. Now when we look at his feet, you can see that his feet are running a little bit open to his target line. Okay, so they're pointed off to the left a touch. When you look at his ball position, it's pretty much running directly up to his left eye. Okay, in relationship to his feet, it's pretty centered. Now when we look at his arm hang, you can see that they are both ever so slightly slacked here. That's just going to give him a little bit of comfort and not too much tension. We'll look at Appy here on the left, and we'll look at this setup here on the right. So with Appy, you can see that the ball's pretty much off his right foot here, back in his stance, hands forward pressed with the club, and his hands are on the inside part of his left leg. Now when you look at his feet, you can tell they're extremely close together here. Now, his right arm has a little bit of slack in it. Left arm looks like it's running pretty straight, but you can definitely tell it is really close to his body. Hands are really close to the body here, okay? Alright. Looks like he's just maybe slightly anchored here, but overall the weight looks pretty balanced in his feet. Now when you look at the picture here on the right, we'll draw a line up from the ball. It's pretty much going straight through the center of his nose there. Draw a line from the center of his chest. It's running in front of the ball a little. Okay? Look here, the weight's anchored just a little bit on the left foot here. Feet look to be running a little perpendicular to the line. Club has a little bit of forward press. Again, club on the inside part of the left leg. And he's definitely choked down on the club. You can see on this one. It's almost on the shaft here. Okay? Arm hang, just hanging under his shoulders. Not really much slack in the arms. So they're just hanging comfortably. Alright, so let's look at just some swings from this point of view of a few different players. So we'll put Michael Block here on the right. And we'll go back here for the left. Okay, one thing that I noticed that he's doing is when he swings back and through, it's pretty much the same distance back and through the ball there. Okay. Alright, also, as he's drawing back, you can tell that the club's not hinging or getting off the ground too much, so his hands are staying really quiet. Alright, as he kind of arrives towards the top there, he's allowing the right arm just to fold a little. Club's just slightly hinging off the hands, but again, the hands have stayed really quiet. And he is allowing the freedom of his body to turn with the club there. Now as he comes through the hitting area, see the club just brushing the grass there, picking the ball off the turf clean. Okay, at this moment, left arm, left hand, and the club are in relatively a straight line. Alright, as he's rotating through, you can see his chest and club are moving together, kind of at the same rate. So he's doing a good job of staying connected, allowing the knee and his lower body to also rotate with the shot. Okay? When you look at his club face, you can see where he's kept it square and he hasn't allowed it to rotate over at all, so he's keeping the back of that hand very solid, hands very soft. You look at his eyes, he's allowing his eyes to kind of track the ball there as he's finishing through. You can see throughout the swing he's just kind of staying anchored on this left side as he kind of just turns back and turns through with very soft hands, not manipulating anything hardly at all, making the shot there very simple in its motion. Alright, so let's go to the right side here for a moment. Now when we look at his setup, again, feet really close together. His feet are running a little bit open, where you can see where the left foot's a little bit laid off in relationship to the right. Okay, knees really close together, and his arms are kind of just hanging under his shoulders here, pretty much straight. Alright, you can see he's choked up on the grip here a little, where the butt end's exposing itself. Alright, so let's take a look at the chipping motion. Now in the beginning here, if you watch his hands, you can see they kind of activate and kind of start the motion a little bit. Right, so he starts to get leverage or hinge the club ever so slightly. As he's going back, lower body stays pretty stable. He's allowing the upper body to turn with the club. Now here, the lower body, when you look at his knees, they kind of start to drive and rotate with the shot. Alright, down and around in this direction. And when he gets back to impact, you can see he's keeping his hands in front of the ball. Alright, keeping the back of that left hand really solid there. Left arm really close to his body. So from here he's using pretty good rotation to get through. Alright, but he does have some soft hands there. As you can see, he's allowing his hands to kind of pull in. Left arm staying really close to his body, and then the club's rotating with his body through the shot there, kind of at the same rate. Now if you look at his club face at this moment, you see it stayed really square and he's not allowing it to roll over. Alright? And if you watch his eyes as he's hitting through the ball, they're tracking the shot as it's being played, similar to how we saw on the left. Okay, so let's take a look at a few other examples. Okay, we have Phil Mickelson here on the left side. We'll go ahead and highlight him. And then we have Seve Ballesteros again here on the right. And what we're going to do is just look at some chipping setups and their chipping motions from this point of view. Alright, some first things that we noticed, again, choked up on the club. Okay, and then if you look at their hands, they're really close to their body. Alright, as far as the distance away from their body there. Alright, some other things that we notice in their setup for both players, their feet are running a little bit open to the target line here. Okay, especially Mickelson here. Now as we know with both of these short game masters, they could play these shots 1,000 different ways if they wanted to. So this is just one example of them playing a chip shot. Now, some other things I notice is the club standing fairly tall here. They don't want it to get too low as far as its shaft angle. You Again, feet really close together, and the upper body looks relatively square. Alright, if you look at Mickelson, his eyes are almost directly over the ball, and then Seve's eyes are just slightly inside the ball. He's using a little bit longer of a club. Alright, so let's go back to Phil here and just focus on his hitting motion here for the moment. So we'll go ahead and just draw him back and through to get an idea of what it looks like. Alright, again, it's just a short little chip that he was trying to land short of the green and have check up. Alright, so you can see that the ball's being played back in the stance, and he's keeping his face there, really square at the beginning. Now, when he draws back, you can see he hasn't really rotated the club face at all. It's staying really square to the ball, looking at it. Alright, the club itself is pretty much in a direct line with his hands. Alright, and he's allowing his trail arm to fold just a little bit. But if you look at his lead hand, that would be the back of his right hand, it's definitely solid and pointed down a little bit still at the ball here. Now he is allowing his body to rotate, you can tell with the club just a touch as it's going back. Alright, the hands kind of start the motion, and you notice right before he goes, he forward presses the club a little bit right there, kind of similar to his putting stroke right before he pulls back on this chip. So you can tell he's trying to trap it a little bit with the back ball position and the forward press. Now as we get to his finish here, you can see that he's kept his club face pretty much direct, square, or even a little open. He's allowed his hands to come in close to his body. Now if you watch his head and his eyes as he hits through or chips through the ball here, see how they're tracking the golf ball's movement, and he's allowing the freedom of his body to move as he completes his chip shot. Now we'll just go to the right here for a moment and look at Seve, and he's doing a good job of the club and the body kind of moving together, working as a team. He has gotten a little bit of leverage here on the club where the right hand has hinged just slightly. Right arm's trying to fold just a touch. Okay, as he goes through the hitting area here, you can see his knees are driving with the shot. Okay, similar here to Phil, where once Phil's hitting through, see how this trail knee's starting to point in with the shot. So we just focus on Seve's eyes here for a moment as he's hitting through. You'll notice that they're going to track the ball's movement. He's allowing his head to flow with the stroke. That way it's not interrupted. So yeah, I mean, this is really graceful here when you watch this. Very soft hands. You can tell that he's not limited in any movements of any sort. And he's allowing his body just the freedom it needs to execute the shot he's trying to play here. So, alright. Hopefully some of these setups, examples that we saw today, and some of the examples we saw of the chipping techniques can help in your own game. And you all have a good day now. Thank you.